Splatoon 3 Side Order looks absolutely fantastic. I have gone back and watched this trailer so many times in anticipation for its eventual release of spring 2024. But every time I watch it, there's one thing that always bothers me. Who is going to be the villain or the antagonist in Splatoon 3's DLC? Well, what if I told you that that antagonist was going to be someone you didn't expect, and why that antagonist is Dedf1sh. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all the court gamers out there. CAJman777 here, and welcome to a small Splatoon 3 discussion video on why Dedf1sh is the villain of Splatoon 3 Side Order. Let's get into it. So, starting off, we know that the DLC for Side Order is based on the other result of what would have happened in Splatoon 2 if potentially Order would have won. It's a clean, neat environment where nothing seems to be wrong, except everything is very wrong. Because I don't think any of us expected when Side Order was first released for the color scheme to be so bland. And what's really interesting about this is usually a lot of people associate the color white with cleanliness and the feeling of organization. However, the way Splatoon 3 Side Order has done this makes me feel like there's a bit more to it. You see, this is kind of an off-white color. And why that white color is still present, it is a bit more mixed in with pastel shades. Now, pastel shades obviously are big things that are used to make colors feel more natural, but when you combine multiple pastel shades together and being next to each other, it creates this very eerie feeling, which I do get in this trailer for Side Order. But that is kind of my initial thought on when I saw this trailer. Why exactly, though, is Dedf1sh the villain of Side Order? Or why is Dedf1sh going to be the villain of Side Order? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. If you go into the initial parts of the trailer, the moment you get up to, of course, Pearl and Agent 8, who we now know is going to be Agent 8 is the protagonist, approaching this elevator, Pearl says a very particular line. We obviously don't get a response to that, or we do kind of get a response to that in the form of Dedf1sh, but this goes to prove, at least at the beginning here, that there will be a level before Splatoon 3 Side Order, before you end up meeting Dedf1sh, before you end up meeting Oct, and we'll get to what Dedf1sh's name as Oct means in a little bit. Now, obviously, the response of Dedf1sh here is, hey, cool it, I'm not your enemy, I'm just a bystander who got sucked in. I have a really hard time believing this, and there are a few reasons why. First, let's talk about Dedf1sh's name. Dedf1sh's name undergoing the code name Oct. Now, if you don't know anything about the word Oct, Oct is the number 8 in German, which already kind of throws up a few red flags in my head because we already have an Agent Oct. It's our protagonist for Side Order. So, Dedf1sh calling themselves another Agent 8, maybe it's some inspiration from somebody, possibly Marina, or who possibly even knows. But what if we translated Dedf1sh's Oct name into a different language, such as Irish? The translation of Oct in Irish is the word act, possibly as in acting. Now that's very interesting. We have two name translations, of course, that either mean the number 8 and the word act. Makes me kind of believe that Dedf1sh is putting on a little bit of an act, trying to, well, impersonate Agent 8. So I honestly don't believe this another bystander who got sucked in line. Another reason I don't believe this in particular is because look at the color scheme around the what we have seen of Side Order. It's very pastel. It's very bland. Who's the only character in the trailer that we see that has bright, vibrant colors like you normally see in Splatoon? Dedf1sh. But it's not only that. In the earlier portion of the trailer, you actually notice the conveyor belt of boxes when they show those off. And inside those boxes, if you actually look in the background, those parts or whatever this ordered society is making are also colored. So my theory is that the color of the world, this order world, has been sucked out and someone is behind it. The only other person that has color, of course, in the trailer, once again, is Dedf1sh. But let's take it a step further. Who gives you that initial color chip that allows you to go through the elevators. Once again, it is Dedf1sh acting as a quote-unquote agent. Very strange, then, that in a world of such pastel colors, the only person that seems to have any form of color present and possibly color to give the player is Dedf1sh. But that's not all. You see, we also get dialogue that Dedf1sh also says that they are friend of Marina. Marina and them go way back, as Dedf1sh says in the trailer. This may or may not be true, but let's be honest, the only two protagonists that we really haven't seen present in any of the story mode expansions or just story mode in general in Splatoon 3, the only two that we're really missing are Marina and Agent 4, and I do think they will be playing a part in the story, but I think they are either being used by Dedf1sh or they are in trouble via Dedf1sh. So I think it is rather strange that Oct would make up a fake name as in Agent 8, who technically we already are in this campaign. Now, obviously, we know this is going to be a roguelike, and the color chips are for replay value. But from a story perspective, those color chips are the really only source of color we see throughout the DLC, which is rather interesting. Besides most of that, we really see the pastel colors and the glowing futuristic yellow that we normally see through through the rest of the trailer. But what's really cool about this, and I think the biggest piece of evidence that we have to why I think Dedf1sh is at least the villain, or at least part of the antagonistic force in Side Order, what are we fighting throughout the entirety of the trailer? Futuristic, but yet still skeletal, Dedf1sh with red eyes. Much like Dedf1sh's visor, and again, going to their original namesake being Dedf1sh. So what do you think? Do you think that Dedf1sh, aka Oct, aka the impersonator, at least as I'm going to call him, is truly going to be the villain of Splatoon 3 Side Order? Or is there some ulterior motive like we got at the end of the Side Order trailer that was just featured with this black veiny substance and the static electricity similar to the colors that we saw of the sanitized Octolings in Commander Tartar back in Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion? I would love to hear everybody's thoughts, but it kind of just hit me, and I kind of wanted to make this video and kind of talk about my ideas. I really want to see where this goes. You can call me crazy for this theory, but I do think there might be some value into it. So let me know what you think, or who you think the true villain of Splatoon 3 Side Order is going to be. And let me know in the comments section down below. Of course, if you enjoyed this little theory, just do me a favor, once again, and hit that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button, because I'd love to see what happens when Side Order comes out, and I could come back to this video and say, well, maybe this aged poorly, or you could come back and say, well, this aged poorly, and I'm excited to see where it goes forward from there. So I want to thank you all for watching, and until then, this is CIJ Man 777 signing off. Stay safe, everybody.